by the way, the world is a much more beautiful place when people speak quietly. In public speaking, a lot of times they teach you otherwise. You got to have different voice tones and this and that. Let me tell you something. And all the public speakers that you know, anybody who yells has nothing smart to say. Because if you had something smart to say, you didn't have to yell it. You could have spoken it. When you have nothing smart to say, and it's not credible, and it's just your made-up stories and your emotions, so then you have to get all excited and scream like a nutcase. That's the way it is, yeah. All those who are selling us lies, Jewish or non, are doing it in loud tones of voice. All those who are selling us truth, you ever heard of Shach say Shir Kol screaming? No. And Ritchad D'Oraita, the fire of the Torah by Rav Shach, was burning so much that it could warm up a whole city. Forget about a shul that already 2 weeks doesn't have heat. The whole city could warm up is Ritchad D'Oraita. It's unbelievable. But there's no need for it. You can give across your message intellectually. And we see that in behavior when we try to talk to somebody calmly and it doesn't work, and then we realize what we're trying to say doesn't make sense, so what do? Either admit or yell. There's no middle road, that's what it is. Yeah, either admit or yell. And most people who yell, it's because they're not making, not most, all, it's because they're not making sense. You don't make sense. Think. If it's rational, talk quietly. Besides, in our marriage series, I once spoke about that when you talk to somebody who's dear to you in a very subtle, low voice, the world becomes a much smaller, intimate place, and it's much more beneficial to relationships. My Rebbe gave me this eitzah many years ago. I was 17 years old. I had a short fuse. To get me angry, didn't take much. All it took was missing a green light. If a guy cut me off on the road, he found himself on the side of the road. Forget about it. It was over. I learned how to drive in Israel. I was driving in Israel. The roads were narrow. It was very easy to get him off the road. It was out of control. It was out of control. And one day he came to me and he said, "Well, what's with you, Neshama? There's nothing Jewish left to you." I said, "Forget about Shabbat. There's that. I'll come one day." But anger. What's going to be over here? So I said, "So what's the eitzah?" I agree with you. So what should I do? Should I take tranquilizers? What should I do? Medication? There's all different variations of medication. He said, "No." He said, "Take it upon yourself to talk in a whisper. To talk quiet. And not only that, whenever you're able to, stay away from people who talk otherwise. Talk loudly, because it's a contagious disease." I said, "You know what? I love it." Here's an experiment that I made right after, a few weeks later, 17 years old. Talking about over 20 years ago. And it proved his point so strongly, not that I needed proof to my Rebbe's words. If he said so, obviously it's Kodesh Kodashim. But anyway, it gave me a little chizuk. Listen to this amazing thing. Amazing thing. I had an acquaintance in Israel. He was a very famous, and just because I love him dearly, and he today is a tzaddik in my opinion. I'm not going to say his name, even though he probably doesn't care. He was a very famous comedian. Very famous comedian. Used to pack halls. Wherever he went, sold out, always. It was unreal. And this guy was funny. And I once asked him to do me a favor. I was going to one of his shows. And I said, "Can you do me a favor and say the first 5 minutes of your jokes quietly, in a whisper?" He was an adventurous guy. And he liked the idea. And he tried. He couldn't get a smile, forget about a laugh, out of anybody in the crowd. As soon as he went back to his high, squeaky, yelling voice, the place was on the floor. You know why? Because what is comedy? A timing game of words that make no sense. It's all immaturity and stupidity. There's nothing funny about it. But the timing is a way that it's one step ahead of you, and the voice is one step ahead of your tone, and everything about it is one step ahead of you, and therefore it plays out funny. But at the moment you play that on slow or on quiet, it doesn't make sense anymore. And then I realized what the rabbi said. He said, anger doesn't make sense. Because who are you punishing by getting angry? Only yourself. It's the stupidest thing in the world possible to do. Don't do it. But for that you have to become a rational person. How are you going to become a rational person? By talking quiet. In business it works phenomenally, by the way, too. It's so much easier to close a deal that way. You don't have to come with all the passion and excitement, just the opposite. become very monotone and confident, and suddenly people need you and you don't need them. That's called the throwaway sale. It always works. It's a very, very powerful position in life to be in. You present yourself extremely dignified, you gain trust, respect, and many other things. And obviously as parents and spouses, it's, Valentine's Day to me is a very sad day. Because from a Jewish perspective, Valentine's Day should be every day, not one day a year. The Goyim teach us, play as if you love your spouse one day a year and you're off the hook the rest of the year. The Torah doesn't teach us that. But even Valentine's Day, look how they presented it. What's the mitzvah hayom today? To buy roses. You hand somebody roses, they get hurt on the way, full of thorns. So even the love, they made one big thorn. I'm giving you roses that have no thorns to them. Thorn-free roses.
It's also good walking and not having to buy anything.
Buy it on Friday, yeah, it's a good idea. Friday, it's a beautiful thing. Chod Shabbat Kodesh. Every week, not just 1 week a year. Every single week and every single Yom Tov, and no matter what. And on the week that your spouse ticked you off, buy double. That's literal, it's not an exaggeration. Work on yourself. That's what a person's here for. The Gaon Vilna writes in a sefer called Even Shleima that if a person is not working on his midot every single day, Lama lo chaim, why is he alive? He doesn't see any reason for him to be alive. Meaning the Gaon Vilna's Torah wasn't a reason to stay alive. The only thing that's a reason to be here in this world is avodat hamidot. So I'm telling you a trick that worked for me, maybe it'll work for you too. Learn to speak quietly, calmly, monotone. Don't be impressed by other people's frustration and anger. Just the opposite. I've prayed that a student that couldn't understand, and he taught him 800 times one time, 400 times every day, and 800 times one time. That's what brought Am Yisrael to Olam Haba. Not everybody's as smart as you. Not everybody gets it the first time around. You don't have to get frustrated and upset. We could do it all over again. Start over and over and over. I once had a client I was trying to sell something to that honestly probably he didn't need, and I definitely didn't need it, and that's why I was trying to get rid of it. But I also wanted to make a premium on it. I didn't believe in the closeout theory. And I went to him a few times to sell it, and he didn't buy it. And one time he yelled at me and he said, "You already showed this dumb product to me 3 times and I told you no. Why'd you come back for a 4th time?" He said, "Because I think you're just not understanding it. So I'll try over and over again until you get it." That day I got the sale. That's the way to win cars. I'm not saying we'll all succeed the first day. By the way, I do believe that you can succeed the first day. If a person makes a switch in his mind, getting angry is bleach, that's it, it's not an option, that's it. He'll never get angry again in his whole life. It's a decision. That's what I believe. But even if it doesn't work that well, so we'll do it over and over. No, sooner or later we'll get it right. So if, now, let's end off with Davar Tov, right? After such a harsh night, we have to end off with something positive over here. So if Kas is so bad, to the point that a person's neshama goes to the klipa and Hashem Yirach and all the things we quoted, imagine a person should get angry, is about to get angry, and he controls himself and he doesn't get angry. Can you imagine what's waiting for a person like that in Olam Haba? If getting angry is enough to wipe out all your mitzvot, could you imagine one time you were about to get angry, you controlled yourself, you didn't get angry? Could you imagine what's waiting for you in Gan Eden at that point? Can you imagine what levels in Shamayim HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give you? Unreal. And it's more than all the Tayag mitzvot that you'll keep your whole life, B'hidur Rav. One time controlling your anger. That's how far it goes. We have to all work on it, and to be in an environment and to create a conducive environment to staying calm and happy and feeling positive and hearing positive things. Yes?
What should a person do once he is angry?
What he should do, I don't know, it's too late already. What others should do, they shouldn't speak to him. The Gemara says, "Ein mifaisim adam b'shat ka'aso." You can't even apologize to a person when he's angry. Because when a person's angry, his brain is not there anymore. There's nobody to talk to.
I'm saying that person feels the anger, but he doesn't react yet. That's right before he acts.
Oh, so take a deep breath and say, "I have a chance to do all Tayag mitzvot b'hidur Rav." Suddenly it's not worth getting angry anymore. There's other solutions too, right? In the marriage classes we said, Rav Nachman writes that when you get angry, you lose your money, your panasah. Even if on Rosh Hashanah they said you'll have money, they'll take it away from you. Because it comes down to the same pipeline. So I always tell my wife, "Sorry, hon, I just can't afford to get angry. It's not an option." It doesn't fit into the budget right now. Everything has to fit into the budget at the right time. But then the list goes on and on and on. Fine. Ad kan dvarai on this subject. There's so much more to speak about this subject, but I think we made a very, very strong case. Blina, the next week, you'll choose what the next subject will be, but something to do with character development. I just